Today on the channel, Jakks Classic Superstars Tag Teams, Series 7. Welcome everyone, Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel as we continue our deep dive into the Jakks Classic Superstars series. And today on the channel, we're going to talk about Jakks Classic Superstars Series 7 Tag Teams. Toys R Us exclusive, as you may or may not remember at that point. Jakks Classic Superstars Tag Teams, same theme continues from 1 through 6. We did not get solicitations knowing these were coming out or who was going to be in the sets. We found out when the first person found them in their Toys R Us store, and they posted it online, and then we knew, hey, the hunt's on for Toys R Us Series 7. I believe Jakks, not like their regular Jakks Classic Superstars line that goes to every retailer, these were Toys R Us exclusives. They were pre-sold to Toys R Us, so Jakks didn't have to put in the marketing, put in the legwork to promote their sets, because, hey, these are pre-bought by Toys R Us, it's up to Toys R Us to figure it out. And that's why we never knew who was in these tag teams until the first person found them in the stores. A really simpler time and a really cool time. I would have loved to be that first person to ever lay eyes on it and be like, is this a dream? Could this be true? But that's the way it was back in the day. There just wasn't the solicitations. There wasn't the internet powerful on these kind of releases and stuff like that. It's just a different day and age, but a really fun day and age, as you guys know from all of these Classic Superstars videos over the last year or so we've been doing them. But Series 7 was an interesting series as far as Jakks Classic Superstars, as we had a Horseman-related series. Every single 2-pack of the 3 here are 4 Horsemen inspired, are about the 4 Horsemen, which is a really cool theme. Me, myself, being a huge 4 Horsemen fan from back in the day when I was a little kid to today. My favorite faction of all time is the 4 Horsemen, so I was really happy to get this. Unfortunately, the execution was a little ups and downs, and we're going to talk about that when we go through each one and some of the circumstances surrounding things, all that crazy stuff that went down with 4 Horsemen and Chris Benoit and all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll talk about that a little bit more here shortly, but we're going to start with this 2-pack first, and that is the Brainbusters. Some of you guys may know them as, but obviously Tully and Arn tagging in the Horsemen before the Brainbusters. And we did actually get a Brainbusters pack in the Jakks Classic Superstars line. We'll get to that down the line when we do the 3-packs. They have it with Bobby Heenan. Very similar figures to this one, but we'll talk about this one first, and this is the 4 Horsemen inspired Tully and Arn. The 4 Horsemen logos on their jacket, kind of like their, not starter jacket, what would they be called? Just zip down 80s members only jacket maybe? I don't know. But very cool. I actually like these figures. I know some people, in this day and age, we would much prefer soft goods. We saw a lot of these. Well, a lot of these. We saw this in the last set with Strike Force with Tito Santana. We saw these same jackets, but painted a little differently, obviously, for this one. So it's a mold they had out there, a mold they were going to use, and it does fit for Arn and Tully, as they did wear these a lot back in the day. So I'm totally cool with these. They also came with the tag team belt, so a very solid 2-pack, and probably, not probably, once again, this will be my favorite 2-pack of Series 7. This one worked the best, I think, execution-wise. And Arn and Tully are 2 of my favorites. So let's do it like we always do it. We'll take a look at the packaging right now. So traditional Jakks Classic Superstars packaging that we know and love. Love that gold star. As hard as it was sometimes when it would get damaged and all that kind of fun stuff. But for the most part, I had a pretty good run finding good, crisp stars. But there you get Arn and Tully's name on the bottom. You got the tag titles. You got the 2 figures. Every figure in this series is flashing the 4 Horsemen hand sign, which I think is pretty cool. I gotta believe Mattel, eventually when we get that Ultimate Ric Flair, we're going to finally get that 4 Horsemen hand sign. I know a lot of people are going to be clamoring for that. We'd love to have it with our Arn and Tully. I don't know if... I think that ship, unfortunately, has sailed with Mattel. I don't foresee them buying or making any more Arn and Tully figures. But this was the first incarnation of the 4 Horsemen hand sign in figure form, as far as I know. So there you go. On the side, you got Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. Other side, you got the glamour shots. I always thought this Tully head was just a hair big. Just a hair big. I always loved the Arn sculpt on his head, and they're both really good. I mean, you both know they're Arn and Tully, but Tully's always just seemed a hair big. Some of that Jakks giantism would get with the heads every once in a while. And then you got Arn and Tully on the back. Of course, Arn in the black, Tully in the red. You got the rest of the Horseman crew down below. A little file card action for each one. We'll read those off. UPC down here, some warnings, the usual suspects. So let's see what it says about old Arn and Tully. Arn Anderson debuted 1982, 255 pounds, 6'1". Finishing move, the Gourd Buster Inverted Suplex Slam. Tully Blanchard debuted set 1975, 222 pounds, 5'10". Finishing move, the Slingshot Suplex, and he did that amazingly. Still the best Slingshot Suplex I've ever seen in my favorite variation. They're promoting WWE 24/7. We'll have a video about that, as there was a Ric Flair Classic Superstars 24/7 figure. We'll talk about that down the line, but that's fitting with this Four Horsemen series set. Very cool on the back of the packaging, too, about the little glamour shots on everybody down below. They're all flashing the Four Horsemen hand sign. I think that is a really nice touch by Jakks on the back of the package. Really signifies that, hey, this is the Horseman set. So I think that is a really, really cool thing to do there. But besides that, you got the AA and the TB. You got the initials on their trunks. They got the same boots. Looks like they got the same boots. They do. Yeah, a very, very solid set. One I actually have loose because I like this set so much. I found it. Got to get a deal. You know how I go. I actually found this set just fairly recently in the last year or so. Loose. Said, I'll pick it up. Why not? Maybe I'm inching my way towards a complete loose set of Classic Superstars. That might happen one of these days. We'll see. But there it is. There's Arn and Tully. Let's move on to the next set. All right, next up in the Four Horsemen sets of Series 7 Jakks Classic Superstars tag teams, we have Dean Malenko and Lex Luger. One of the greatest tag teams of all time. Or actually not. These two, as you guys are well aware, I'm sure, were not in the Four Horsemen together at the same time. On people looking at this now, maybe that don't know the history of all this, they probably say, why? That's so Jakks. They put two guys that don't belong together. Just because they were both in the Four Horsemen, they put them in the pack together. No, that's not really the case. Unfortunately, this was supposed to be Chris Benoit and Dean Malenko, which would have been an amazing two-pack, and possibly my favorite two-pack in the Series 7 by far, because I was a huge Chris Benoit fan. He was my favorite wrestler his whole wrestling active career. He was my favorite active wrestler, especially in the Horseman days. Loved that era of the Horsemen with Benoit and Malenko. I love Dean Malenko. That was a great set. But we all know what happened with Chris Benoit, the murders. Obviously, all of his figures were pulled. He was pulled out of this set, replaced with Lex Luger at the last minute, and that's why we ended up with this two-pack. So that's the reasoning for that. It's not just Jakks being dumb. They actually said, uh-oh, we're at the last minute. Who else can we throw in there? And they threw in Lex Luger, which was an easy one to place in. I'm assuming that's why he's in here. Little issues with this pack, too, and we'll talk about it when we look at it. But let's look at the packaging first. Traditional Classic Superstars packaging. Does come with a chair and comes with a belt. What belt is that? I think it's the light heavyweight title. These things are so hard. Yeah, it is the light heavyweight title. Those Jakks belts with no color, they're so hard to read. I'm sure some of you guys understand that and see that every day. But it is. And this could be our only light heavyweight title in the Jakks Classic Superstars series, if I remember right. There may be one more. But this is one of the only chances you got if you're a belt collector of Jakks. That's the only way you could get them. And then, like I said, it does come with the old silver chair. As you know, Dean Malenko, a little funny story about that chair. Lex Luger actually had this chair as his Four Horseman chair, he called it. And through the years, as new people went in and out of the Four Horsemen, you know, Lex always said, well, yeah, they kicked me out. Maybe I wasn't a real Horseman. I'm not the Arn Tully. I'm not Ole. I'm not Ric Flair. I'm not JJ. But I'm an important part of the Horseman history. And he always kept this chair. But finally, he said one day, he said, you know what? Dean Malenko is really Horseman material. He's a better Horseman than I ever was. And you know what? I'm going to pass down my silver Four Horseman chair from the night I became a Horseman member. Symbolically, I'm going to hand that over to Dean Malenko. And that's what Lex Luger did. I think that was a huge gesture on his part to really solidify Dean Malenko's history as a Four Horseman. I love Dean Malenko, and I thought that was really cool. That story may be totally false. Somebody can fact check that out there. I'm not totally sure, but I think that's the way. Lex Luger passed down his Four Horseman chair to Dean Malenko. That was how he solidified Dean Malenko as, yes, you are Horseman material. Yes, you are a better Horseman than I am. That's just what I heard, but I could be wrong. Somebody can fact check that. One thing I do not like, and I believe I'm If I'm wrong, you guys can tell me once again. I don't know if either of these t-shirts were worn by either Lex Luger or Dean Malenko. I feel like that Lex Luger shirt was well after his time. And I don't remember that Dean Malenko Horseman shirt either. It would be a later day Horseman shirt. Maybe it's correct. Maybe I just don't remember ever seeing it. I mean, there was a lot of WCW merchandise at the end of the days. But I'm pretty sure that Luger one was, 5-10 years after Luger was out of the Horseman is when that shirt came. I almost wonder if this was going to be a Chris Benoit's shirt if he would have been in the set. Because I think that would have made more sense if I believe right. So on the side, you got, of course, the Lex Luger, Dean Malenko. Got 2 glamour shots of him right there. Dean looking real serious. And, of course, the back. You got a little blurb up top. You got the Horsemen down below, all flashing the 4. And UPC and all the warnings down below. Let's see what it says. Dean Malenko debuted 1979, 208 pounds, 5'8". The finishing move, the Texas Cloverleaf. And possibly that could be my favorite finishing move of all time. I just love the Cloverleaf. It's so easy to execute. It looks cool. It looks aggressive. I always love the Cloverleaf. Lex Luger debuted 1985, 275 pounds, 6'4", and of course his finishing move, the Human Torture Rack. So I don't know, this doesn't really work as a set. I really wish, obviously more than anything, wish Benoit whole thing didn't end up happening. But I don't know if they could have done something different. I know it was a last second. I guess it's better than nothing. It's better than just having 2 figures in the set and just scrapping it. So I guess I'm okay with Lex and Dean, but it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't make a lot of sense now. It doesn't make a lot of sense then. But under the circumstances they were under, I guess it does make sense. So there it is. Dean Malenko, Lex Luger, Series 7, 4 Horsemen. Now let's take a look at the last pack, Barry Windham and Ric Flair. All right, let's finish up Series 7 tag teams. And you can't finish up a 4 Horsemen set without the Nature Boy Ric Flair. It's just, you have to have it. And Ric Flair's here in his suit, looking really good, looking only like he can look, as some would say. And then you got Barry Windham with him as well. And I really wish we would have seen an Ole Anderson or maybe a J.J. Dillon. They never did have classic superstar figures of those two. I would have really liked to seen them in there. However, Barry Windham is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Absolutely loved Barry Windham as a kid. I really loved his, 90s run in the WCW when he was, feuding for the title and stuff. And he'd wear the black chaps and the black vest and all that. I absolutely loved Barry Windham. He was a very believable wrestler to me. I thought he was a great fit in the 4 Horsemen. I thought he was a great fit across the board. His tag team matches with Arn Anderson against Doom, those street fights, I absolutely loved those matches. Huge Barry Windham fan. Unfortunately, on this figure, I find the execution to be absolutely terrible on this Barry Windham. Once again, I don't believe that shirt went with Barry Windham when he was in the 4 Horsemen. And the head sculpt on this 4 Horsemen Barry Windham, just not good. There's something off with it, and I'll show you when I get it closer to the camera here. It almost looks like he's rolling his eyes in the back of his head, so that could be some paint application issues. But he just looks really old and haggard and like a zombie, basically, in this figure. It's cool he came with the vest. This wouldn't be a bad one for maybe some customs out there. But just not good execution-wise. And then the Ric Flair does have a little bit of the giantism manager disease that we get with some of these suit figures. But I'm glad we got a suited Ric Flair. It makes sense. Ric Flair wears a suit. He always, did it all the time. So it's cool to get that in the Jakks Classic Superstars line. Of course, I also have this one loose just because, hey, I needed a suited Ric Flair back in the day. I don't know what happened to my Barry Windham. It's been so long. I don't know if I sold Barry off or whatever. I must have. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of. I would have lost it. I don't lose my toys, so I didn't lose him. Rick does come with sunglasses here, which are the kind of weird, like, goggles that wrap around the head so they stay on. Not a huge fan. I like the traditional glasses, but traditional glasses are much harder to stay on a figure's head. So that's, I don't know, a little give and take there, I guess we'd say. Also comes with the big gold belt, which, when you think Ric Flair, and when you see that belt, you think Ric Flair. At least I do. I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. So a mixed bag with this one. It just really is a mixed bag. I would have loved to have seen an Ole Anderson or a J.J. Dillon. It would have been cool to see J.J. and Ric Flair both in suits. I don't know how well that would have sold. I think it would have sold okay. But I'd never been a chance of 2 suited manager-type figures together. Would have been interesting. But let's take a look at the packaging there. There it is. Like I said, Rick in the gray and blue suit. You got Zombie Barry Windham. I don't mind the boots. The gold boot and the cowboy boots are a nice touch on that. The vest is cool. Got the 4 Horsemen hands on both of them, of course. Just that Barry Windham head scan is not good. It's like they tried to age him a little bit. We'll show on the back the original head how it looked. It looked a lot better to me. So there you go. And then you got the names on the side like usual. And of course, you got the glamour shots. You got Rick in his woo face. Wooing all over the place. And the back, of course. So you can see this Barry Windham has a little bit better head sculpt. It might be his classic Superstar single head sculpt. I think it might be, but I do like that head sculpt a lot better. It just looks better. Rick's head sculpt is just fine. We all know who that is. Got both little blurbs by Rick and Barry. We'll read those. The rest of the lineup down below. The warnings, the UPC, all that fun stuff below as well, like the other packages. Let's see what we say about old Ric Flair. Debuted 1972, 230 pounds, 6'1", and of course the finishing move is the figure 4 leg lock. Barry Windham debuted 1981, 274 pounds, 6'6", and his finishing move is the bulldog. I always figured his finishing move was the top rope superplex. That was kind of his finishing move in his 90s WCW time, if I remember right. Looking at the back, yeah. It's just not the same. There's just something off on that head sculpt. I don't know if you can really see it too good on there. Just not a fan of that Barry Windham head sculpt. But it is what it is at this point. There's no change in it. But I like the theme aspect of Series 7, I guess wrapping it up a little bit. The theme aspect of all 4 Horsemen members is pretty cool. I wish they would do more things like that. I wish Mattel in this modern day would do a set like, hey, Series 97 is going to be Bobby Heenan themed or something, or faction themed. Maybe you bring it to modern days, it's going to be the Hurt Business, and maybe you throw Ricochet or somebody they've been feuding with. But you give us the whole Hurt Business plus 2 guys they're feuding with. You give us MVP, Cedric, and Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin, and Ricochet, and I don't know, just something. Or, you know, Retribution. I don't know if that would warrant a full set. I think people might be up in arms. Give us the whole Retribution faction. Give us every single one of those in a set. It's cool. It's something different. It's something to spice up a set. Something people would talk about, similar to like this one. Hey, it's a Horseman set. I don't know. That's me. That's just an idea. Somebody can take that out there if they want, free of charge. Free idea, free tip from Kyle. Hot tip of the day. So there you go. Classic Series 7 Tag Teams Toys R Us exclusive. 4 Horsemen representing. So that's it for this one, but next week we'll be back with Series 8 and Series 9, 10. You guys know how it goes by this point. We still got a ton of videos to do. We still got all the 3-packs. We got the Jakks Deluxe Classics. We got the rings. We got the wear. We got the robes and stuff. We got the 1 of 100s, the 1 of 25s, the 1 of 3000s, 1 of thousands, the box set exclusives. We got a lot to talk about in the Jakks world, so we're going to be carrying on for a long time with these videos. But hopefully you guys join me next week for Classic Superstars Series 8. But in the meantime, make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and then you leave me your comments on Series 7. Your thoughts on this. I think we all agree, great in theory, not totally great in execution for Series 7. But you can tell me your thoughts on Series 7 as well. But for the 4 Horsemen, I'm Kyle, and I'll see you guys all real soon.